At first, my goal in writing to Daniel was just to get an interview with him in prison. I got that first interview, and then another, and another. Daniel's letters reflected the way he speaks. Meandering, introspective, intelligent, sometimes explosive. He expounded not only on the Jordan case, but also about his life, sharing everything from glimpses of his childhood to what life is like in prison. Eventually, reading and responding to his long, detailed letters became too time-consuming. So he started calling.
About the $7 million, Amanda. Remember I told you about that? Sure to get $7 million to the non, but guess what? You know what I'm saying? Yesterday was.
What? I never know when the calls are coming.
Oh, wow.
And I never know what Daniel I'll get when they do. The quiet, scholarly guy who wants to talk about the law, or the frantic, exasperated Daniel who tells me about conspiracy theories. Sometimes he's just the friendly Daniel who talks about books.
On episode 6 of Follow the Truth, Daniel Green gives his side of the story on what happened the day Michael Jordan's father was killed. Amanda Lamb is the host of the podcast, and she joins us now. Amanda, of course, you went to the prison multiple times to visit with him. How would you describe your encounters with Daniel Green?
You know, when I went to the prison, I already knew Daniel. We'd been writing letters, we'd been talking over the phone. And it was very comfortable for me to sit down and talk with him. But you know, just like you heard in that clip, Daniel is a complicated guy. He's been in prison since he was 18 years old. He's self-taught on the law, and understandably very emotional about his case. He knows every detail about his case. But honestly, when I sit down with him, it's like sitting down with an old friend.
Now, Daniel Green and Larry Demery, they have two different stories on what happened that night. What was Daniel's version?
So Daniel's version, which we're just starting to get into in episode 6, and we're going to carry that through the rest of the podcast, is that he wasn't there. He had nothing to do with shooting James Jordan. He was there in the aftermath. He helped Larry Demery. He admits to helping Larry Demery get rid of the body. But again, he says he wasn't there, and there are alibi witnesses that saw him at a party at the time that James Jordan was killed.
Now, there's one witness who says that Daniel stayed at the party late into the night. What was wrong with her testimony?
So they only put on one witness, which is one of the biggest issues because there were multiple people who saw him there. That one witness didn't come forward till about a month before the trial. So the prosecution went after her credibility. But when you think about it, it was a very difficult thing to come forward in a case like this and defend the guy who was accused of killing Michael Jordan's father. So, you know, naturally she was scared and she didn't make a great witness. But we have found other witnesses who have come forward and said Daniel was there. Multiple witnesses, people that were not related to him that really have nothing, you know, no reason to lie about that.
Now, what Daniel says happened after he met with Larry that next morning, what did he say?
Daniel says that Larry came to the house. He was very nervous. He was very anxious. He was very upset. And he said, look, I got into an altercation with somebody and I shot them and I need your help. He reveals this slowly to Daniel. He doesn't tell him everything right away. Daniel is Larry's best friend. Daniel is loyal to a fault. Daniel goes with him, and he does help dispose of the body, which he says at the time he did not know was James Jordan.
And Daniel maintaining that he did not kill James Jordan may have helped in the aftermath. But there were videos and photos of him wearing Michael Jordan's ring, riding the Lexus. How does he explain that?
Absolutely. So, you know, Renee, you've got two 18-year-olds, and they're not the sharpest tools in the shed at that point in terms of life experience. And they are joyriding in this car that they think is a drug dealer's car. And they think they're just having a good time. They find some of this jewelry in the car. Daniel says he found it in the console. And he thought, hey, this is cool. This is, you know, Michael Jordan swag. So again, a lot of bad choices, but that doesn't mean he's guilty of murder.
So episode 6, Follow the Truth. We start to get into Daniel Green's side of the story. You can download these podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Amanda Lamb, host of Follow the Truth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renee.